Gunshot Straight from the Hip, the show that explores the lives of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. These are uplifting stories of people just like you who touch the lives of others just by being themselves. The views expressed are those of the speaker and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of any advertiser or business entity associated with this broadcast. Here is your host, Mark Gunn.
Welcome to another episode of Gunshot Straight from the Hip. I am Mark Gunn, and this episode we're going to do something I haven't been able to do in a long while, and that is an album review. This time around, we're taking a look at the sophomore effort from supergroup Generation Radio. It's called Take Two. Generation Radio's album was released back in April, around the 24th. This is a follow-up to their 2022 debut, and Generation Radio consists of DeMarcus from Rascal, Jason Scheff, formerly of Chicago, Chris Rodriguez, an incredible session guitarist who did a lot of work for Keith Urban, Tom Yankton, who's been featured on a lot of stages and a lot of recordings as a guitarist, and Steve Ferrone, who played drums for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and did a stint with Duran Duran. Ferrone steps in for Dean Castronovo, who is the original drummer for Generation Radio. He is now back on tour with Journey. So what I want to do with Take Two is to give you a song-by-song analysis. We'll take a listen to each song, and I will give you my thoughts on it. And I'm approaching this as a musician and a producer, so it's going to be more than whether I like the song or not, okay? Now, the first track that we'll take a look at is the first release from the album, and it's called Montana Sky. A little bit of background, DeMarcus and Jason Scheff worked together back in 2006 on the Chicago 30 album, and when they released Montana Sky, I actually told the group that this reminded me of a track from 30, and that I could actually hear some of the song's horn arrangements from this particular track. So I'll let you hear Montana Sky, and I'll let you hear the track that I'm talking about.
There's something inside me that won't ever die, and it burns like the sun in the Montana sky, and I got a heart that won't ever let you go. Where were you when I was following someone I should have fallen in love with you?
So the Chicago 30 track I made reference to, you just heard, it was called Where Were You? And you can hear the similarities with the rhythm guitar structure. There's also something in common with the way both songs end. So those are the end chords for Montana Sky and Where Were You? Both songs co-written by Jason Scheff. DeMarcus co-wrote Montana Sky, and Bill Champlin co-wrote Where Were You? And again, DeMarcus was one of the producers on the Chicago 30 project. The next track on the album gives an indication as to where Take Two is leaning. It's called The Melody, and it was written by Tom Yankton. Again, another very catchy melody, more along the country pop vein. Check it out.
The melody brings back, the memory brings back the feeling again and again, any place, any time, no matter where, no matter when. The memory brings back, the melody brings back the feeling of everything that I love again and again. And are you thinking about me too? But you know
That is The Melody, co-written by Tom Yankton. His contribution to Take Two. And again, this album leans more toward the country pop genre than anything else. And if you try to compare it to their first album, and comparisons will be made fairly or unfairly, it's a different feel altogether. Whereas Generation Radio, the self-entitled debut, was more 80s power pop feel with tinges of country, this one, Take Two, is more of country with tinges of power pop. Now, the next track is a clearer example of this, and it's one of 4 remakes that are actually on this album. A lot of critics are saying that there are 3, but no, this is actually the first of 4, and it's a Rascal Flatts remake. It's called These Days. I'm going to play you a bit of the new version and the old version as well.
Teardrops, they fall down like rain. I put That's what I'm doing these days.
Originally released in 2002 and remade 22 years later, that is the Rascal Flatts track These Days. How you doing? It's Mark Gunn, and once again, we are doing a review of the new album by supergroup Generation Radio. It's called Take Two, and I'm giving you a song-by-song analysis from a musician and producer standpoint. I like These Days. It's a really well-written song. Both versions I could listen to, but I do like this updated version a little better. It gives it a little more energy, and it has a more modern feel to it, and it's easily accessible to today's country pop audience. The next track on this album is called Maybe Monday, and it's one of my favorites. It's beautifully performed by Scheff. The lyrics are Chef's kiss, and the arrangement is absolutely incredible. Take a listen.
Maybe Monday, I'll go back to being strong. Maybe Monday, you'll go back to being gone. Maybe, just maybe, I'll start moving on someday.
Maybe Monday, once again, one of my favorite songs on this album, and one of the few songs that's actually written outside of the group. Doesn't quite fit in the country genre, doesn't quite fit in the pop genre, but it is something that, again, if you listen to the arrangement, listen to the lyrics of this song. Oh, man, I'm loving it. The next song on Generation Radio's Take Two is a little bit of a reminder of the stuff that was done on the first album. And this puts the spotlight on Chris Rodriguez, who low-key is one of the secret weapons of this group. This is an up-tempo, really accessible pop jam. Also, one of my favorites. Chris owns this, as well he should, since he wrote it. The song is called Grass is Greener. And I'm telling you, I think you're going to like it when you hear it as well.
So baby, hold on tight. I'm gonna carry you to the other side. Yeah, the grass is greener over here. Say goodbye, dark night. I'm gonna carry you to the morning light. Yeah, the grass is greener over here.
That is Grass is Greener, the Chris Rodriguez contribution to Take Two. It gives me a Todd Rundgren feel for some reason. And like I said, for my money, Chris Rodriguez is the secret weapon of this group. He, out of everybody here, seems to have the keenest sensibility when it comes to crafting rock and pop songs. For example, go back to the debut album. Another standout track that he wrote and did the lead vocal on was Waiting on Your Sunshine. Once again, you are listening to Gunshot Straight from the Hip. I am your host, Mark Gunn, and this time around we are doing an album review of the newest project from supergroup Generation Radio. It's called Take Two. Generation Radio consists once again of DeMarcus from Rascal Flatts, Scheff, formerly of Chicago, Steve Ferrone from Tom Petty and The Heartbreakers, session guitarists Tom Yankton, and Chris Rodriguez. The next track on the album is called Love History, and while it's not one of my favorite songs on the album, lyrically, it is very, very clever. It's another DeMarcus composition he co-wrote with Sean McDonald, and it shouts out some of the greatest couples in history and talks about how, yeah, we got it from here.
Tonight we're making love history. We were written up above, you and me. See, you might be from Venus, I could be from Mars, but all the stars between us couldn't keep us apart. There never was, there's never gonna be anyone like us. Tonight we're making love history.
Now, there is no way that I'm going to sit here and say that Love History is one of the worst songs on the album. It's not. It's actually quite good. Lyrically, like I said before, it's very clever. Again, it's not one of my favorites, and I think the issue I have with it is that it sounds so much like a lot of the top 40 stuff that you're hearing on contemporary hit radio. Again, that's just me nitpicking, okay? Now, the next offering on Take Two is probably my least favorite song on the album. And it's probably the most straight-ahead country song on the album as well. Why am I not so high on this song? Well, Last Night's Whiskey sounds so stereotypically country. It has all of the elements, and you'll just have to hear it for yourself.
But it still burns like last night's whiskey. I'm still holding on tight to the hope that you might still wanna be with me. And your goodbye still swings the sledgehammer of misery, and everything hurts, and your goodbye still burns like last night's whiskey.
Again, probably the most straight-ahead country song on this album. It's called Last Night's Whiskey. It was co-written by Dorian Crozier, Jason Scheff, DeMarcus, and Tom Yankton. Now, again, my least favorite song on the album, but here's where I'm torn on Take Two. This is a songwriter's album. And let me explain. While the songs vary in degree as far as whether I like them or not, whether they're good songs or great songs, you can't take anything away from the writing on this stuff. Lyrically, this is some of the strongest stuff I've seen. And as far as melody and arrangements, this is a very well-crafted album for the most part. But you have hits and misses, okay? And Last Night's Whiskey is one of them. Now, here is the point of the album where a lot of people seem to think that it falls off a cliff. And while I don't necessarily agree with that assessment, I do agree that this is the album's major misstep. Now, earlier I said there were 4 remakes on this album, right? You heard one of them earlier, These Days, originally done by Rascal Flatts. And the other 3 songs, I'm just going to play in a montage. Here I Go Again, as performed by Whitesnake. I'm All Right from Kenny Loggins. And You're the Inspiration by Chicago. Take a listen.
Here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone. I've made up my mind, I ain't wasting no more time.
So those remakes again, Here I Go Again by Whitesnake, I'm All Right by Kenny Loggins, and You're the Inspiration by Chicago. Now, here's where I have a problem. These remakes feel unnecessary. It would be one thing if they were just bad versions of these songs, but they're not actually. But they feel unnecessary. When you consider the wealth of material that's been written by just Jason and Jay alone, they could have gone into their catalog and pulled up some stuff. Now, again, I think it's a great idea to bring back a song that, maybe one of the other groups performed just as a linchpin to their past. But I think with Generation Radio, you always need to look forward. And to a degree, Take Two is a step in that right direction. But I think these remakes, again, because they're so unnecessary, was a stumble. Now, the next song is where Generation Radio's Take Two redeems itself. And it continues a tradition of doing something that's really deep and really poignant. As with the debut album, they had a song that actually I tried to push to country radio called Angels.
I still believe that walking among us there are angels doing extraordinary things, yeah. It's plain to see that they're all around us, angels. Some of them just don't have wings.
Now, this next track, For a Soldier, is another Tom Yankton contribution written with the legendary James Petrick. And if you've ever served or you've got a family member that's ever served, this will hit you square in the chest.
And we turn our backs on someone else's war, but it's never over. For a soldier.
Now, For a Soldier is the shortest song on the album, but let me share some of the lyrics with you. Because again, this is incredibly deep, okay? Thank you for your service. That's all he ever hears. But he can't tell the secret he's been keeping all these years. That every time they fold the flag and fire off 21, quietly he wonders, who's the lucky one? Like I said, if you've ever served or you know somebody that has, it's another reason why I recommend listening to this album. The final track, I think, is a nice way to round out Take Two. And it's another DeMarcus original. And it falls again into that pop country vein. And it also happens to be one of my favorite songs on the album. This is Hate This Heart.
I hate this heart 'cause it's still beating only for you. And the love we made still running through my veins. I curse the way it won't let go of all the nights we knew. I hate this heart for loving you.
Once again, another song that is easily accessible to country radio and maybe even top 40. That's Hate This Heart, the final track on Generation Radio Take Two. My overall take of the album, traditionally, and anybody in the record industry will tell you this, the sophomore slump coming up with that second album can be a very real experience. Is this a case of that? No. Is this as strong as the first album? And again, I have to say that comparisons will be made between Generation Radio and Take Two. No, I don't think this is as strong as Generation Radio. But here's the thing. When you're in a position to where you're making music for the sake of making music, art for art's sake, you're not worried so much about critical acclaim. And at the end of the day, critiques like this are meaningless, and I get that. But when you enjoy doing what you do as musicians and you have the luxury of being able to do it, this is the type of stuff that you're going to come up with. It's all a labor of love. Now, would I recommend this album? Yeah, I would. Why? Because it's something that anybody can listen to. Am I a big country music fan? No, not in the slightest. However, is this a bridge to country music? It could be. Am I a big top 40 fan as it relates to the way top 40 is being produced today? No, I'm not. But again, this is a bridge. It could very well be. Am I a fan of good songwriting and great arrangements and great production? Definitely. And this album, as with Generation Radio, ticks those boxes. So yeah, I recommend it. And you get a chance, Frontier Records is the label, Generation Radio Take Two is the new album. And if you haven't heard the first one, go ahead and check it out as well. All right? Once again, this has been Gunshot Straight from the Hip. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me. Go to my website, markgunmedia.com. Thank you for checking us out, and we'll see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to Gunshot Straight from the Hip, the show that explores the lives of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. These are uplifting stories of people just like you who touch the lives of others just by being themselves. We're always looking for feedback and show ideas, so reach out to us by email. mark@markgunmedia.com. That's mark@markgunmedia.com. Make sure you check us out for the next episode. Thank you for listening.
Mark Gun Media.